Hey, everybody, we're here for a new episode of the show that has yet to be named. This week, we're doing a review. I am wearing a Star Wars shirt, which means we are reviewing Brave New Worlds, the new Star Trek show. So let's get right into this.
Wait.
Solid shirt.
Wait, I'm wearing an Avengers shirt. Did I come to the wrong
I
meeting?
told you he wasn't going to be wearing one.
Anyways, we're reviewing Star Trek. No, we're not. We're reviewing Obi-Wan, the new Disney Plus show based in the Star Wars universe. So if you're here for Star Wars, then you came to the right place. All right, so we'll give you the non-spoiler review first, and then we'll transition into the spoiler review. So we'll just kick it off here. I mean, for a synopsis, there's not really much you can say about this show because you don't even really realize what's happening until like the fourth episode.
Yeah.
So,
I mean,
No, it's true. And the trailers make you believe it goes in one direction and it's a completely different direction that
Yes.
they take it, which I liked. It was very, very good.
They make you think you're going to go in one direction and then they go with Harry Styles. So it's pretty dope. But yeah, so it's Obi-Wan is now on Tatooine and he's watching over Luke and stuff happens and spirals out of control and the show goes. So
The show goes.
Just for the people that don't want spoilers, do you guys want to tell them anything?
it's a show about Obi-Wan Kenobi, and hit right out years later after Revenge of the Sith, and
It's kind of the halfway point between Revenge of the Sith and A New Hope. It's kind of in between there.
I
Literally
wasn't
in the
asking
middle.
for a freaking synopsis. Do you guys have any opinions on the show?
It's a show that's awesome.
It was fantastic. It was well written. It was Deborah Chow did a fantastic job with the directing of this show. I
casting was
thoroughly
amazing,
enjoyed
too.
it. This was one of the better, not just Star Wars shows, but I think this is in the top 5 of like this Disney, Marvel, like all these shows that they've been putting out in the last. This easily in the top 5.
I mean, I would have to go through them to figure that out. I wouldn't say it's not even in a class with The Mandalorian for me, but it was definitely better than Boba Fett, that's for sure.
Yeah, I agree that was better than a Book of Boba Fett. Unfortunately, I mean, it's because I want Boba Fett to be good, but yeah, it really was. Mandalorian, though, no, I Mandalorian just on a whole world. I would say though, at least I would say if you're through with Mandalorian, this is definitely a special treat to watch.
This was a good show. It
was a very
good
good show.
I just think there's like small things here. For example, like the casting is really good.
Mhm.
And a lot of the actors are fantastic. Like
A lot of the actors reprise their roles too.
Yeah, which is good. But like for example, O'Shea Jackson Jr. He's great in his acting, but the writing literally gives him nothing.
No.
Like his character is absolutely useless. It's all
Substance.
his whole character is driven through like he's just there to explain things.
He's like the NPC that's basically trying giving you a tour into the game. Basically, I hate to put it that way, but it's
he's
true.
just there to give exposition, and
I
find. But a lot of the characters are like that. Even there's someone who helps them along the way, who works with O'Shea Jackson's character, and she also is in the show for a really long time, and she doesn't really have a purpose in the show. She's kind of just there so that they have a reason to do things.
Yeah.
But like, I think small nitpicks like that takes it down a bit, but it still generally was a really good show. Especially the last episode was really solid. We're not going to get spoilers here.
Yeah.
The last episode was amazing. I'll just say this. I was so upset because I was trying to get reactions to that. I feel like it'd be a good episode, which I'm not going to say what happened. But then when the happening was my file got corrupted and I lost all my reactions, and I was so upset about it. But literally, this was like
we were happy.
Yeah, whatever. My fans were not. But anyway, but my point to the whole thing is there were so many reaction points in that last episode that made you go, "Oh my god, that's awesome!" Like it was exciting, and I you don't get much of that when it comes to shows, especially shows that are linked to other shows. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
or other movies or whatever franchise.
No, I get what you're saying, and just generally, I think the pacing was really well handled. I think the shows move properly. It doesn't really have that much filler, which is nice.
Yeah.
Especially
short
given
and to the point.
Yeah, Star Wars seems to be, say what you want about the Book of Boba Fett, but they seem to have the right idea of how to progress the shows, where I find in the Marvel universe, they get stuck in the middle section all the time, where it's like they all of a sudden it starts off strong, giving you where you're going to go, and it ends strong. But the middle is like this muddled mess of like trying to figure out where you're going.
Yeah, WandaVision suffered from that.
All of them do, except for Loki and Winter
Falcon.
Soldier. Falcon
Yeah.
and Winter Soldier.
But here's my thing. Either way, and it's so funny how this works. Honestly, when it comes to Marvel, I feel like that when it comes to progressing the story, even though maybe we're not as well now, but at least when it comes to their movies, their movies feel like if you're comparing to old movies and everything, their movies feel more flushed out than Star Wars as far as with Disney taking it over. Then when you look at the series, the Star Wars series are more fleshed out than the Marvel series. You know what I'm saying? Like
I think too, the way it is especially with a show like Obi-Wan, you know where the start point is and you know where the end point is. So now they're filling in the gaps.
Of course.
As opposed to Marvel, where it's like it's going to connect to the next thing and it's going to connect to the next thing. Oh, wait till phase 5 that you're not going to get.
And
I think that's the difference.
That's the weak point of Marvel right now, though, is they don't know where they're going with anything. So it's, and I've been a defender of the fact that didn't matter for the whole time, because I don't think that that's affecting the individual projects. But now when you take a step back and you look at everything that happened after Endgame, it's just a bunch of random nonsense. And it's like, and I'm trying to, in my head, understand where any of it connects to each other and where it's going, and you can't. But when I take them individually, I'm okay with what they are. And I think Star Wars had a harder time with it because Marvel had been building up for years to where they were going, where Star Trek kept changing hands. Where originally, yes, George Lucas wrote it, but George Lucas didn't direct the movies.
Yeah, he said Star Trek.
Wars, yeah. Star Trek is better anyways. Yeah. Star Wars didn't know where it was going.
Make it so.
He wrote the shows. I mean, he wrote the movies with this idea and constantly kept changing where it was going. But you had people there in control of what was happening and directors that were directing, professional guys. When you got to the prequels, George Lucas completely took over and just went crazy doing whatever he felt like he wanted to do.
We need more CG. We need more green screen.
Exactly. And then
we need more Jar Jar.
The shows that were all isolated, like the animated shows were all in their own isolated things controlled by separate people, where George Lucas just kind of looked over it. And then you got to the Disney world where now a new whole group of people took over. And that seems to be the problem, because Marvel since Iron Man has just been one vision almost the entire time.
It's all been Kevin Feige pretty much.
But that's why I do like, at least it feels like maybe Star Wars is going in a good direction. Good. Yeah, because here's my thing. I was always trying to back up Hayden Christensen when it came to his role, because everyone blames him, and I'm like, it's not his fault. He's actually a good actor, and I felt, he
was good in Glass.
Yeah, but my point is,
Little Italy.
Okay, fine. I'll
let you have it. But my point is, outside of the love story in those movies, I felt like his anguish, things of that nature, were really good in my eyes. I always liked it. You know what I mean? I liked the way Hank portrayed it.
I'll always say it, when he was allowed to act, like that scene in Attack of the Clones where he's like talking about what he did to the Sand Troopers, and you see that pain, you see that anguish, or at the end of like episode 3 when that final battle with Obi-Wan, if you're not with me, you're against me. Like you could see that passion and that.
I want to knock on you on this, not on the sense of what you're saying, but why that's happening. Okay, so in the final scenes, I understand that's completely different. But a lot of those small moments that you're talking about when he had great acting, like little parts, it's because he was filming probably with the B team that went off to get footage with him, where George Lucas wasn't there to be like, no, I want you to do it this way.
Yeah, exactly.
Talk about how much you hate sand.
Yeah, but you can see it when George Lucas is there and when he's not. And I'm not saying this is what happened. I don't know for sure, but I started noticing this over time, that it seems like a lot of his best parts are in small scenes that don't really matter, where it's like you could tell they're like, go get footage for this while we do this big scene that we're filming.
Well, Hayden Christensen even said during interviews when they were talking about Obi-Wan, he said himself, I want to redeem that situation. I want to show you guys that I do have passion for this character, and that I want to show you guys the proper Vader that you deserve. And well, until we'll get into that later, because I mean,
okay, look, we'll get into it in a second. I just, I want to say, does Hayden Christensen deserve what he got? All the flack that he got? No, but he's also lucky that those movies came out in a time when social media wasn't as bad as it is now.
Yeah, exactly.
Number two,
but this show offered him that redemption.
Good. He wasn't as bad as the writing made him seem, but I'm not going to pretend like he was Oscar worthy or anything. Ewan McGregor carried those movies on his back.
Oh yeah,
even Natalie Portman isn't good in those movies.
But see, that's what you're saying it right there. Perfect example. When it comes to Hayden Christensen and Ewan McGregor, though the scenes that were good were them together a lot of the times. They have such great chemistry as characters, and you need that in Obi-Wan and Vader.
It's kind of unintentional, I would say. That he I don't know if Lucas meant to do it, but if you really look at those movies from afar, they're basically an Obi-Wan story, and Anakin is just there in the Obi-Wan story because he doesn't really even become a main character truly that impacts the story until the third movie.
Well, heck, even the first, if you think the first movie does,
it's an Obi-Wan movie. It takes him from
he's
apprentice.
The MacGuffin. The MacGuffin is Anakin, basically.
Obi-Wan's the one who. He doesn't kill him, obviously, but he's the one who destroys. He cuts Maul in half. He's the one who beats Maul.
Yeah, but at the same time, look at the example there. Qui-Gon Jinn is literally basically the lead in that movie. You know what I mean? Even to the whole Anakin, and it's just again, these are also looking at great actors in my eyes that carry these roles, and that's the reason why I said, yeah, I agree. Hayden Christensen. I'm not saying he's Oscar winning, but when you put him and Ewan McGregor in those roles. There's sometimes that things are hit or miss. This was a hit in my eyes. I think
it was absolutely it was, and the thing is
was good. Yes,
and it was Hayden Christensen inside the Vader suit. It was Hayden Christensen in those.
No, it is in that. We'll get to spoilers. We're going to get to spoilers.
No, but I mean, for the most part, Hayden Christensen was in the suit. There
was two guys. There was one guy that did all the moving scenes and one guy that did all the sitting scenes. They showed it.
Oh, really? I thought it was Christensen that did it.
He's only in the suit in a few moments of the movie or of the show. You can look it up. I might be wrong officially, but I know for a fact they showed them. They had interviews with the two guys that he's like, I'm the guy that does all the walking and movement, and I'm the guy that does all the sitting scenes. Because
the guy that does the movement, they pretty much nailed his style.
Yeah. Well, it must be people. They got people that know Star Wars, right? That's how these shows work, and I feel like it's good. So come on, before we give the spoilers, because I want to get into spoiler talk. I just want to say a few things quickly. All the people who gave Moses Ingram crap are crazy because I think she was great in this show. I think the character was kind of ridiculous at times.
Wait,
the way that they wrote it.
Third sister.
Okay, gotcha.
And I don't get what all the negativity was about, but like generally her acting was really good.
When we get into spoilers, I'll tell you what the negativity was.
I know what the negativity was, but we'll save that. And a lot of people just didn't want to wait. We've already talked about this before. A lot of people just didn't want to wait to see what was going to happen. So immediately just started bashing people for decisions that were made. And it caused the creators to just give spoilers online because they were tired of dealing with all the crybabies. I don't want to hear it. So that's what happened. And the acting throughout this show is solid in general. So I just want to go through this and get scores. And then we're going to go into spoiler talk. So I'll go first, I guess. I think it's a solid 7.5. I want to go higher, but I feel like there's too many characters that should be better written, and they weren't.
I'll go. I'll give it a little bit higher. I'm going to go as high as an 8 on the show. I thoroughly enjoyed it. And like I said, it's in top 5 of Marvel/Disney shows out there right now.
Well, 7.5 from you probably will make it into the top 5.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, and I was already saying 8 to myself too. I agree with you on JD.
Yeah, that's fair. I think that's completely fair. So, guys, if you just came for the no spoilers, there it is. We're gonna go into full spoilers now. And Putty, you can take the floor.
Okay, so.
Oh dear God, what have you done?
Yeah, right. All right. So the first and foremost, I know what we were talking about was the Grand Inquisitor was a big deal where they literally had to reveal, no, he's not dead. It's because of her, because I know what people expected going into the show. Oh, we're going to see a lot of the Grand Inquisitor, and they didn't give us that. But this is not his story. You know what I mean?
He was great.
Oh no, I'm not saying
Friend
that.
is, he was really good.
The small amount of time he had, he nailed that.
Especially in that final scene, like that final scene he's with Vader.
Yeah.
And but Vader's like, no, we're going after Kenobi.
Well, I even told Campo, I said, and until Campo told me they did sign off for new seasons. The bicker,
did they?
That's what
we'll get into that. Putty, you go first.
Yeah. But then here's my gripe. And I actually said to Campo, I said, people were complaining about the Grand Inquisitor. Here was my gripe. When the third sister took Leia, she was talking about Obi-Wan, like, instead of calling it Ben, and Leia was like responsive, like, oh yeah, I know this is Obi-Wan. And when I heard that people were complaining about the Grand Inquisitor, I'm like, did you guys not see the broken plot hole here? Where, remember, she didn't say, and this is literally something that's huge in the fandom, is she says to you served with my father in the Clone Wars in A New Hope. She never says you saved me from, you know what I mean, from being captured, which you think would be a good cue point for her to say to Obi-Wan. So when people were complaining about that, I thought, okay, why aren't they complaining about that plot hole? Which again, they might be answering later on, you know, the later seasons if that's confirmed, and you know, something's going to happen to where she might forget that this happened. But that was my actual gripe, like, because I at first I thought this was the only thing I thought.
Whereas I'll counter that for you when you're done.
Okay, and so, but that's my complaint. Now, I have some positive things I can't wait to get into. For example, like Anakin, when Obi-Wan took that helmet off, oh my god,
that's Hayden Christensen in that part.
Yes, and that's straight out of Rebels, Star Wars Rebels, because Ahsoka did the same thing.
Did the other side, and see, you can actually see the scar that he actually makes the scar that's on his head that you see later in Return of the Jedi. And so many little things, but that scene, the way they did the breathing, the way that he actually says, no, I killed Anakin, or, you know what I mean? Like he says, Vader killed Anakin. Every little thing there was just so cool to me. Like, as I was just freaking out.
Whereas I like that scene too, because when Obi-Wan tells Luke that Darth Vader betrayed and murdered your father, he is just repeating what Anakin said to him. I killed Anakin. So it is true.
Yeah.
The little details that they have on this are so spot on. But this is my whole my thing, and I know JD, you want to counter his point, so I'll let you get to that. But I think that there's going to be a correction down the road, and I also don't think that that's a big deal, because at this point, I feel like they're rewriting Star Wars in a sense, and they don't care how you feel. I'm not saying this to be a dick.
No,
they
I know
don't care how you feel about that error. They knew that they did that.
But that's my point, though. Taking that out is kind of like just saying, you know what, we decided just to retcon. He's no longer Luke's father. Fuck it.
No,
like, I know I hate to put it that way.
Okay, but no, it's not that big.
Well, but no, you're telling me that the scene where she says, "Help me, Obi-Wan Kenobi." My
just
hope,
so you know, we have
iconic.
We have like 20 years between now and A New Hope. So well, she's 19 in A New Hope.
Yeah.
That's why I'm saying, because remember, there's no.
She's 9 in the show, and she's supposed to be 19 in the New Hope.
So how is she forgetting 9 years?
Okay, well, I'm going to get to that more.
Because from Revenge of the Sith to A New Hope is 19 years.
Okay, go.
But
JD.
my counterpoint to you, Putty, is it's in a time of war, and it's not Leia asking Obi-Wan for help. It's Bail Organa asking Obi-Wan for hope. So she's relaying a message from Bail
that is true. Yeah.
To Obi-Wan. And that's why this is our most desperate hour. Help me, Obi-Wan Kenobi. You're our only hope.
No, it makes sense. But then the other thing, for example, like when Luke freaks out and everything, she would have a connection too. Remember when Obi-Wan dies and Luke freaks out? Again, that's another plot hole there. We're like, why wouldn't she freak out? She don't.
But these plot holes. Okay, look,
but think about it though. She does not see Obi-Wan again until she sees him on the Death Star getting destroyed by Vader. She goes 10 years, most likely, without seeing. We don't know what happens, but from what they're telling you, it's 10 years without seeing Obi-Wan again, where Luke sees him every day from afar.
I get it, but that he just met him as well, too. You know what I mean? Like,
I no, trust me. I understand what you're saying. I'm not trying to counter it to be like, oh, you're stupid or something. I'm just saying.
No. I'm just providing a counter.
I think it really. The things you're pointing out are stuff that you notice because you've seen these movies 10,000 times.
Mm-hmm.
Realistically, it's irrelevant. And I don't mean that to be like a dick, like I'm saying, but I feel like you're nitpicking it because you know so much. And even though to you it's a big deal, in the grand scheme of things, it literally means nothing.
Well, no, I get
that. Wind, yeah.
I know. But again, a lot of those things happen. But again, that's a connection that.
Yeah, and I get it. And there's a lot of those little things, but also the small details that they did pay attention to are crazy. But there's a reason for this, Putty. That's how I see it.
But no, but that's my reasoning. But that's the reason why I'm going back to the thing I said originally. For the whole internet to go over the fucking Grand Inquisitor to make such a big deal about that really made me think you guys are not like, I don't feel the Star Wars fandom there anymore. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like you guys are so fake now. Like, you're not really seeing the bigger picture of things because you're just so stuck in a different world in my eyes. You know what I mean? So it's like,
I mean, it's a different generational. It's a generational thing.
True,
I'm calling time out.
Sure.
In the 70s/80s, it would have been 80s. Didn't Marvel make the Star Wars comic?
Yes, they did.
And doesn't Disney own Marvel and Star Wars?
Mm-hmm.
So why the hell doesn't this say Marvel on it?
Okay.
Because that shirt was probably printed when it wasn't.
Blasphemy.
Okay, so
that shirt was probably printed.
Buddy,
when
I
Dark
don't
Horse
need you to describe to me the history.
Oh no! I'm going to explain this. So it went from Marvel to Dark Horse, actually, and then from Dark Horse it went back to Marvel because of them buying it. But I think now they're letting IDW take care of it, or there's two stories. I don't remember now. That's where I'm lost right now. What's going on? Because I know Marvel took it over after Dark Horse, and now I think
Marvel's still producing.
So I think both of them. So then IDW and both of them are making. Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think IDW's a branch of Marvel. I think I could be mistaken.
I'll have to look that up. Yeah.
Would that be like how Vertigo is a branch of?
It might be. No, then that means guess what? They have the Sonic comics because that's IDW.
Yeah, you know what? They also have the Star Trek comics. Star Wars, Star Trek crossover. Here we go.
No, don't. I guess I get again. I don't want to.
Picard meets Obi-Wan.
Does the Orville get involved here?
Picard versus Obi-Wan. That's I like that.
Shut up, Wesley.
Okay, enough. I don't. You're making dreams happen in my mind. So, anyways, I think one thing I want to point out is a lot of people complained about the Leia story in general, not from a Putty saying, but in the sense that they didn't need to know the reasoning of how she knew Obi-Wan and how they filled all these little gaps with all of this stuff, or how she became a fighter, kind of. And I love that. I love every second of that. I don't care if you need,
and that's what threw it for a loop. The trailers make you think that it's about Obi-Wan protecting Luke. And it's Obi-Wan and the dynamic he has with Leia. And
that little girl is so good.
That's what
she was fantastic.
She is amazing, and I mean, I felt the spirit of
Vivian Lyra Blair.
Like, oh my god, where did this little girl
and then that final scene at the end when she's doing the hair and the little buns and she puts on the holster.
And I love that the mom was like, okay, this is cool, because I was expecting it to be like, no, you can't wear that.
But she's a prime example. She was the one I wanted to praise the most because she's so adorable, but you could tell she's young. But I felt like this little girl literally sat there and watched all these Star Wars movies.
Of Princess Leia. She nailed it.
I think they really got lucky, and they got handed a gift of potentially someone who's going to be a fantastic actress somewhere down the road.
Yeah, because that kid who played Luke.
Well, he didn't really have anything to do. And I think this is my issue with Star Wars and Marvel in general, which I'll get to in a second. But she's so great, and she delivers in the comedy. Her timing is so good, and then her dramatic scenes were good. She felt very powerful at times, the way she said things, and the fact that she came off like how a princess of
high stand,
not like a pretentious, like I'm rich, like how someone who knows whose family
nobility,
they've dealt with the war and they've been in the council, so they know how to
way she shows her compassion for droids.
The way that she's like, no, I will not negotiate with terrorists. You know what I mean? And I thought that's kind of.
But it's like when with that loader droid, the one that protects Tala.
Yeah.
That the way she interacted with that. Hello, what's your name? And then Tala's like, well, no, they don't speak. They just do one job. But what if he has something to say? Like,
exactly.
It's just something those little things that just brought it out.
Hold on, now let me go, Putty. Okay.
Wow, you're talking.
I just want to say before I forget what it was.
Yeah.
The thing with the Luke character, and this is something that Marvel and Star Wars both do. They hire on kid actors or side actors to play roles thinking that this is it, and then later down the road they have to bring this person back, and this person can't act, but they're stuck with this person because they want to keep continuity. And I think that might be what has happened here. I don't want to throw a knock on this poor little guy, but like I feel like they didn't hire him to do real acting. He just was supposed to do this little role, but then somewhere down the road they're gonna be like, shit, we need to bring this kid back now, and they're gonna have a situation on their
They're
hands
gonna
where it's like,
recast.
maybe, but
they need to lock up that actress who plays Leia.
Yeah. Well, I was going to say the one thing I wanted to point out, we're talking about like the spirit of Leia. You already saw it automatically because I like how they were trying to conform her to be the regular type princess, and she's already off going and climbing the tree. You know what I mean? Like that is the spirit that I always would feel with Princess Leia. You know what I mean? Like I could be beautiful, but I could be adventurous,
rebellious.
Too. Exactly.
That rebellious nature that she's always had.
And as soon as I saw her do that, I was like, oh, I think, and I realized, I already knew at that point, oh God, this is Leia. When I saw Cloud City, I was like, okay, you know, I'm not Cloud City, but why did I say Cloud City? Anyway, my point to the whole thing is
on Alderaan.
Yeah, Alderaan. Thank you. I had a brain fart right there. Thank you.
I was about to call it Cauldron.
No, I had a brain fart there. It was the.
And then she gets captured by Flea.
Yeah, exactly. My point
he was pretty good in that.
But when I saw Alderaan, I immediately knew, oh my God,
chicken.
Okay, when I saw Ultron, I immediately knew we are getting set up with Leia, and we're gonna see Leia. But I was afraid, like, oh God, are they gonna screw this up? And when I saw her run, you know, where she did the little bait and switch thing, that maybe told me, okay, they understand the character picking the little girl, and the little girl was the one that basically made the character perfect. And because of that little scene right there, I kind of felt more comfortable. If that makes sense. Like I felt like I was in place, like I was going to see something kind of special here. Yeah. So,
well, also the fact to me too that they brought Jimmy Smits back to play Bail Organa as well. You could see now where you get some of Leia's negotiation, like, or
it's I like that
decision making. Yeah, she gets it from him.
I'm Joel Edgerton came back, and I'm pretty sure the Aunt Rue is the same.
Baru is the same actress as well.
Both Owen and Baru.
I call her Brew, so it's Baru. All right. By the way, she was amazing in that last scene, and I want to just absolutely slap everybody out there that was like, why do they even put her in it? She doesn't even do anything, because they saved it all for that moment when she was badass and was like, take this gun. We're going to fight this.
We're going to fight these guys.
And I was like, yeah, that's what we're talking about here. There's a reason that Obi-Wan left Luke with them.
Yeah,
because
they can take care of themselves.
They could take care of themselves. And they had a plan. Okay, so continuing on our journey here of Star Wars.
And it's scary how both Joel Edgerton and Ewan McGregor are really starting to look like the characters that they play in episode.
Oh my God.
Like Ewan McGregor is really morphing into Alec Guinness.
They're having a hard time here, though. This is the one thing I will notice. Joel Edgerton looks way too old from the transition from the other movies till now.
Hey, living in that hot sun with two suns in the desert really ages your skin. No good moisturizer out there.
The Obi-Wan aging doesn't make sense to me from what he looked like there to where he looks like now to where he's gonna be by New Hope. None of that.
Okay, so here's a fun fact. Ewan McGregor is only 13 years younger than Alec Guinness was when he filmed The New Hope.
You can't tell me that it's. I mean, just visually, he looks like
Ewan McGregor is like almost 60.
Yeah, no, he's not. Is he? He's like 50.
Gotta be,
isn't he?
He's 55, 56.
No,
I'm looking it up right now.
I'm looking it up right now.
Ewan McGregor's age,
1971.
Okay, so he's 51.
Yeah. So, but I mean, I'm just saying visually, he looked like a child. He looked like an older teenager,
right?
In the episode 1, 2, 3.
But episode 1, 2, 3, you're talking over 20, almost 25 years ago now.
But that's what I'm saying, right? And then the way Alec Guinness looked in A New Hope compared to where he is now at Ewan McGregor, it doesn't make sense in visual.
Well, yeah, because
these are errors, Putty, that I'm upset about.
Yeah, well, see, but see, JD's right. We like
Alec Guinness was 64 when he did 63 when he did. It
doesn't matter. It's how old they look.
No, I get it.
But you're right. Alec Guinness looked like he was 1,000 years old. But then again, like I said, that hot sun on Tatooine is aging them faster than it should.
But see, the other thing is, JD, you said it yourself, but the whole 19, she would be in A New Hope, she was 19, which means she would basically just a 1 or 0 when she was born in Revenge of the Sith. So when you're comparing 19 to 25, almost, maybe 30 years now, like the 25 years or 26 years now that the movies, like there's literally more time that the movies actually existed from now to then than the actual gap between her age and the storylines. You know what I mean? So it's gonna be kind of hard to, if you're bringing back somebody to like, and a lot of ways you've got to actually make him look older but younger. Like, I'll not explain it. You know what I mean? Like,
they didn't. This is a George Lucas thing. This is the kind of thing that I don't like about George Lucas. He doesn't think about stuff when he does it. He's just, that's cool, let's do that. And then they do that. And that's what you end up with. But anyways.
Let's replace David Prowse with Hayden Christensen.
No. Anyways, you know what? Let's replace Roppongi Vice. No. Anyways.
Roppongi Vice.
Who did Michael J. Fox replace? I always forget his friggin' name.
Eric Stoltz.
Eric Stoltz, yeah.
He was in Mask. Anyways,
yes,
good job.
Turn back. Cher was in that. So, anyways,
turn back time.
You're a turd. So, this is back to what Putty said a long time ago about this show. So, there's two things where I think there could be correcting and where what he said about season. So, Disney never planned this to be one season. The creators of the show didn't know that. So Disney was always this rumor since the show was released now that Disney's planning to make 3 seasons. And now the creators have come out and said, if everyone likes this show that much, we will go ahead and make a second season. Which I think
because the way it ended was perfect. Like they don't need to do anything. But it
also ended in a way that, yes, we can do more.
Well, yeah, because they're probably
now you're going to get the new adventures of Obi-Wan that is outside of the Star Wars that we know, where he's going to go do like random things.
Why do I have this feeling that Qui-Gon is? Remember how in that he's how Qui-Gon, he's not the Force Ghost, but Yoda said to Obi-Wan in Revenge of the Sith, he said that your master Qui-Gon Jinn has
communicated.
Yes, and now like it's like he can better train Obi-Wan even more now. So it's like maybe that's what they're gonna set up now, is that Obi-Wan's gonna continue his training, even though he's basically doesn't need it, with Qui-Gon to help better. Because I always wondered one thing too: how are they going to address the whole thing? Since A New Hope, you never see him talk to Qui-Gon. Are they going to basically like later on, like him and Qui-Gon are like, oh, we're finished, we don't need to do this anymore?
Well, that's exactly what Yoda did to Luke.
Yeah,
my help you don't need anymore. Remember?
So I think that's what's going to happen. With
Can
Qui-Gon,
we just like point out the fact that how Star Wars just functions? You spent absolute years training Anakin, but everyone else only needs 1 weekend of training and they're okay.
Right.
Okay, so back to what I was saying before Putty cut me off again. So they've also shown leaks that Millie Bobby Brown has been in talks to be in Star Wars, and I don't know if anyone notices that she bears a striking resemblance to young Carrie Fisher. And there's a good chance that you're going to get a show that takes place between Obi-Wan and A New Hope, where we're going to find out more information that might fill in the
Seeds
gap
of Rebellion type of.
Yeah, where Putty will finally.
Because I heard that's where I heard talks too of like what's his name reprising the role of Galen Merrick, Starkiller, Sam Witwer.
Let's see where that goes. You might get a small show that's only like 5 episodes where, oh, guess what? We have a crossover just like Boba Fett where Obi-Wan shows up in the last episode to help or something. But I'm just saying there's all this talk. We don't know if any of this is true.
Yeah,
this is all just speculation. But I mean, it kind of makes it for cool conversation, and I like that. But so we should skip ahead here because we're definitely really long in this review.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the last episode, just the last episode.
Sure.
I'm down.
I think this is arguably the most impactful episode that we've had from any Star Wars show yet. And all the way from the way that third sister, when she brings Luke back and she realizes that she was a Jedi at one point. This is not what she is.
She was a youngling. Yeah.
And then the fact that the conversation between Luke and Obi-Wan and the conversation between the Grand Inquisitor
and he did the hello there.
I was literally about to say hello there. Yes, I loved it.
There was so much good in this episode.
Yeah.
Like they did it so nicely.
Even that one scene that McGregor and O'Shea had, that scene, he goes, these people need a leader. You're that leader. Go and lead them. Like, he just inspired this guy. Basically, like, you could see all the seeds of the rebellion being planted there now. Like, you don't know what happens. I want to see what happens to the Raccoon's character.
Not only is he a big enough name, but he's also a good enough actor that you can have a show where he's one of the main characters, and they become lore in the future that these were the people who saved all of these people, you know?
How do you know he's not going to have a crossover in that episode with Andor?
It's possible.
Yep.
Because Andor takes place before, what's it called? Before Rogue One, right? It's a prequel to Rogue One. Yeah. So Rogue One happens right before A New Hope. So this is the perfect place to put him. Have him and Forrest Whitaker return as Saw Gerrera. And
well, you even said yourself when you guys were talking about the possibility, again, the rumors with Millie Bobby Brown playing Leia and that whole thing. He's a perfect catalyst for her to also, because she already has rebellious behavior, but now she has somebody looked up to in that rebellion. You know what I mean? Because you know her father's going to be there to show her the more political and more, you know, the more royal.
Have some scenes with Bale and
Kumail Nanjiani's character, or Nanjiani, sorry,
Kumail Nanjiani.
His turnaround from being like this snaky type of guy to being like this honorable person, where he was like, even if you don't trust my word, he doesn't even get to finish it, and Obi-Wan's like, he's like, I trust you, and he's like,
don't worry, I trust you, go.
But that was like a powerful scene to me, because this guy that was like a piece of shit for this whole time was like, no, I'm gonna stand up for these people.
He was trying to capitalize on people's
stealing money from people.
Yeah. Well, there's a.
Did anybody catch the Corrin reference? The kid?
No.
So that kid, the one who Kumail and his mother helped escape, he's about the right age to be Corrin Horn, and his name was Corrin.
Oh, I didn't even know. I didn't even hear him.
I didn't even notice that. I honestly
didn't
notice that.
So we all know who Corrin Horn is, right? From the Star Wars like expanded. Yeah,
Freak on a Leash.
Yeah, Corrin. Yeah.
I finally got to use a corn joke.
Wow,
no, but yeah. So Corrin Horn is like a big character in the expanded universe, the Jedi Academy series, like part of like
the characters. I was talking about him there,
and the kid's name is Corrin, and he's at about the right age. And Makes this sense. Path helps Jedi or Force sensitive people escape.
Yeah, but that isn't that now no longer canon. So I guess
but maybe they're bringing a lot of canon back. Apparently, the Taika Waititi movie is supposed to be a Revan movie.
Yeah, so that's what they're doing. They're taking the lore that
Putty just like what,
and they're turning it into. They're using it to build stories for now.
Yeah, Putty's looking
but
it up.
You're not going to find it. It's going to be like really rumor obscure news.
Is it? But is he really? Is Taika Waititi really doing?
Taika Waititi is confirmed.
How did you not know that?
That's big news. Taika Waititi is doing a Star Wars movie.
He came out. He talked about it.
No, I didn't know about
my friend Meek. I think I killed him. Oh, he's all right.
Oh my
everyone.
God, he would do good with that too. Like I think he would do.
He's already confirmed. He's already started putting the movie together.
Oh my God.
And they're saying he might get a trilogy.
Yeah,
I'm 100% on board.
And I'm putting it out there right now. Jensen Ackles is Revan.
I'll take it.
Jensen Ackles is anybody. Let's just do it.
His turn as Soldier Boy in the Boys this season has been fantastic.
I need to watch that.
Sam, you can sit on the sidelines. Okay. Dean only. Dean Ambrose. Yeah. So. I don't have anything else. I don't really want to go into this too much. Okay, maybe a little bit more. The fight scene was pretty good.
Yeah.
I loved how OP Obi-Wan just was like, nah, F this shit.
Yeah, with the
rocks. Even that flashback scene where they de-age them, and like the dynamic between Hayden and Ewan McGregor in that flashback scene was fantastic too. Like
a thing that I liked that they did here. Okay, so it's that Darth Vader / Anakin is the one, okay?
Mm-hmm.
But he's still far away from the all-powerful Vader.
Mm-hmm.
Obi-Wan is at this point still like more powerful than him, okay? Because Obi-Wan is probably one of the more powerful Jedis who ever lived as well. People just don't talk about it. But when you saw him, his force was so weak. He had to access his like anger part of him.
He had to
show
touch the
full
dark side.
power.
Yeah.
And did you see how much power he had when he did it? If he went dark, Obi-Wan would be like maybe more powerful than Darth Vader.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And I don't think it was anger that he channeled. I think it was more passion.
It was
emotion.
Like,
emotion.
It was emotion, but they're not allowed to use emotion. Period.
No, and
so
that's what
made
kicked Obi-Wan into that extra gear was that use of emotion.
Yeah.
Well, see,
it could have been self anger, right? Because of what he did to
angry at himself.
Anakin, yeah.
But I want to point out one other thing too, and I love how you can slowly see it transitioning too. Is if you notice when Anakin and Vader fought in like Revenge of the Sith and everything, they have way more, they're younger, so they have more agility to them. They have the more fantastical moves. I love how the gradual age is showing how they fight. Because remember, if you look at that Revenge of the Sith to A New Hope, the way they fight, you look at like this is not the same type of fight you saw in Revenge of the Sith when it comes to New Hope. But I love how this is actually showing how their fights aren't as acrobatic now. It's more of like more stationary, but with still got a little energy to it. Does that make sense?
You want to know what I just realized in my head too? This Anakin is only like 28 years old. So that means in 10 years, when he died as like 100-year-old looking man under that suit, he was only like less than 40.
No, Anakin's not 28.
Anakin is how old when they get him? 10?
Oh, 8, yeah, something like that.
And then the Clone War or the last movie is 15 years later, which makes him like 25.
25, yeah, and this is 9
years
years later.
After that. Okay, so he's not even 50 years old.
So he's 30. He's 31 in this movie.
Okay, calm down.
That would make him 41. Yeah, he'd be like 50 in A New Hope.
But he looks like a really old guy.
Well, yeah, but he's also
George
burned.
Lucas, figure your shit out.
He's burnt to a crisp.
Yeah, he's
crispy.
You
gotta remember, even if you're young and you're in your 20s, if you go full on dark side, you look old. It doesn't matter what your age is. If you go full
I don't know, Count Dooku looked pretty good for his age.
Well, no, but I think it depends too, because I don't know, like
General Grievous looked pretty young.
When 900 years old you become, look good you will not.
Yeah, right.
Classic.
But when it comes to Sith, I think it depends on how like how much you go. Like I don't think Count Dooku just went that Sith or that as much. You know what I mean? I think you have to go full on like Palpatine Sith to get that old age look.
Yeah.
Well, also Dooku was not an apprentice of a Sith Lord, was he?
Yeah, he was. He was Darth Tyrannus. He actually, but he picked up that mantle after Maul, so it's already been years. Like, since he
let's
left
get some more Maul, man. Bring those robot legs. Let's get.
Robot legs. Maul.
I would love if they redid. What book was it? The one where Maul attacks Obi-Wan when he's protecting Luke.
But they did that. They did that in Rebels.
Guess what's coming to Obi-Wan season 2?
Maybe they'll bring in Maul, but there was one scene though. That final scene that I liked was when Vader created that pit and Obi-Wan is in the bottom of the pit and Vader's standing above him. It's recreating the high ground.
Oh, yeah.
Obi-Wan thought he was defeated at that point because Vader at that point had the high ground instead of... So it kind of like mimicked their earlier fight too, right? So...
But it also shows the parallels of that because he, instead of just immediately trying to escape from the hole, he held on to it where Anakin can't hold on to that even for a second. He had to immediately keep trying to attack, even though he lost the fight.
And they made reference
Obi-Wan
to that
thought about
in
it,
the show too.
I'm going to think about this,
and that's why you're still a Padawan.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, that's good. Okay, I'm done. Guys, thank you for watching. Let us know what you thought about Obi-Wan in the comments. We'll talk more about Star Wars in another episode, but I don't want to keep this review going forever. Check out their channels. It'll be in the description, and peace out.